Shalom, Yasharala Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rachak, Wadash, double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, whomever you may be, wherever you may be. Shalom, Yasharala Shalom. All right, we're going to get into this video here. This no cab baloney here. Dude's this clown. This dude's a joke, man. He's a clown, man. He's trying very, very hard to go through this Bible, and and it says Matthew 25 destroys Hebrew Israelism. Ooh, ouch. Oh, you got me, vocab. You got us. You got us. He's a joke, man. Okay, but I'm not actually going to get into that. What he spoke about on Matthew 25. I actually want to edify, the listeners on another point, all right, coming from a different angle, as I often do, okay? And so I'm going to play this clip, and I can't share. This is from I first saw this right here at the Elder Menat Zakba, GMS, South Carolina 08, but finding out that the video originated from, is his name Elder Karataza, okay? I believe, if I'm correct. I'm not good with names. But GMS Vegas sit downs 144, okay, from off of his channel. I haven't finished fully watching his video yet, and I haven't shared any videos because for some reason I can't share videos. I had to do some kind of recognition thing, and I'm waiting for that to clear, so I can't share videos right now. So anyways, I'm gonna play this video, and we're gonna jump in from that angle right here to edify the body. All right, so let's play.
Why is this final judgment scene, though, extend on? Meaning there's more to the story. If it was based upon the One West imagination that they've come up with, and they go out in the street and teach every Saturday, breaking the Sabbath, if they're really trying to keep it, of course, then why is this scene, Jesus, why is it so long? It's not.
And really, I don't even have to play anything from there, because that's all I wanted him to just say that, all right? Because I'm going to bounce back.
Street and teach every Saturday, breaking the Sabbath, if they're really trying to keep it.
There you go. Teach on the streets every Saturday, and they're breaking the Sabbath. They're really trying to keep it. Wait a minute, my man. So let's go here to the scriptures. He just said we're breaking the Sabbath day by teaching on the streets every Saturday. So what we're going to do, okay, to edify the flock, we're going to start right here and first speak on the Sabbath day, and then we'll go into the scriptures, all right, that the Spirit fed me. So let's go to Genesis chapter 1. All right, we're going to jump down to, I passed it though, verse 14. It says, and the powers said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. All right. And it's not important, but since we're talking about it, let's pull up signs as well as seasons. What's the word there? Mawa'id, if I said that right. Appointed place, appointed time, meeting. Here we go. Sacred season, set feast, appointed season. Just like today, we have 4 quarters in a year. All right. A season for, 3 months for each season. 3, 6, 9, and 12. All right. Well, you have the winter. Actually, I'm sorry. Speaking on a Hebrew, okay, you have the spring, then you have summer, then you have fall, then you have winter, and then the year resets at spring. But of course, living under Esau, we have winter, which is not even the top. It's at the top of the year, but it's halfway through. New Year's halfway through a season, just all off, right? Changing the laws of times and things of that nature, just like the Lord said that they would do. All right, through the mouth of the prophet Daniel in Daniel chapter 7. But we have the 4 quarters of the year, which are seasons, okay? So that's straightforward. And let's get signs. And sign says awaf. It says a sign, a signal, a distinguished remark, a banner, remembrance, miraculous sign, omen, warning, token, ensign, standard, miracle, proof. So that's what he set up these lights for, all right, in the firmament of heaven. And we're going to find out what these lights are. It says, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And the Elohim, the powers, made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also, and the powers set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. It says, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And the powers saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day, year 4000. Okay? Now, the key was here in verse 16, where it says, and the powers made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, which will be what? The sun. And the lesser light to rule the night, which would be what? The moon. And he also gave us at nighttime the stars also. All right? So the powers made the stars also. Okay? Now, we're going to jump over here to Ecclesiasticus chapter 43. Basic breakdown, not deep, but it's the same scriptures. We're going to pick up at the point, though. Ecclesiasticus chapter 43, verse 6. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times. Is that not what we just read in Genesis 1? It says, and a what? A sign of the world. Okay? It says, from the moon is the sign of feast. Our high holy days, all right, are charted according to the moon. A lunar calendar, if you will. A light that decreaseth in her perfection. You have what you know is called a moon cycle, all right, where you get the waxing and the waning process. From the new moon to the full moon, which is the white moon, and from the white full moon all the way back to the new moon, which is the full dark moon. That is the sign of our feast days and things of that nature. That is the sign of our Sabbath. How do we know? Okay, let's bring it all together. All right. Verse 8 says, the month is called after her name. Okay, so you get the word month from the word moon, which in the Hebrew is Chadash. Okay. So it says increasing wonderfully in her changing. That's what we just talked about, the waxing and waning process. Okay. We have the different quarters of the moon. It says being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. Going back to Genesis chapter 1 that we just read. All right. It says the beauty of heaven, the glory of the stars, an ornament giving light in the highest places of the Lord, and the commandment of the Holy One. They will stand in their order and never faint in their watches, which actually links us up with Jeremiah 31, where it talks about these things and that the Lord will never do away with us because those things can't be done away with. But that's the other topic. We're done with that. So let's jump over here. Okay. As a matter of fact, let's read that Genesis again. 1 and 16. And the powers made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. Now, we're going to go over here to Isaiah chapter 66. And you just need one scripture. As a matter of fact, we need our Strongs. Okay, we got it. Isaiah 66 and 23. It says, and it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, one full cycle, all right, from that new moon all the way to the full moon, back to the new moon. One full cycle, which is one full month, okay? It says one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another. So the Sabbath is according to the new moon. So when there's one new moon all the way to another new moon, that's 1 month, and that is also the new Sabbath. The Sabbath will start at that new moon, and for that whole entire month, the Sabbath will fall on the same day for the whole month. Like now, it's Thursday to Friday, okay? The next new moon could randomly come on a Sunday to Monday. But every month, okay, marks a new moon cycle, which also marks a new Sabbath cycle. And the Sabbath day will be according to that new moon for that whole month until the next new moon cycle completes itself. All right, you follow me? So it says, and it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, said Yahweh. And what we want to also do before we jump over to our main scriptures here is get new moon. This is what we just mentioned. The word there is Chadash. All right, Chadash in the Hebrew. It says the new moon month. We just read that, right? In Ecclesiasticus. All right. This is how you get the word month from the word moon, which is in the Hebrew chadash, monthly. The first day of the month. What? The lunar month. You see? And that's all we need right there. So as we continue on to debunk this this talking head right here, he's just like a Pez dispenser, just shooting out, all this candy everywhere. Yeah, man. But anyways, he says that we're going off for teaching on the Sabbath. Now, I wanted to go into that to establish the Sabbath day. That's very important, okay? To establish the Sabbath day. What is it according to? The new moon. It is not perpetually on a Saturday. It is most definitely not perpetually on a Sunday. It is according to what we just read and broke down according to the Holy Scriptures by way of the Holy Spirit. All right? Now, let's go over here. And Lord will, you be edified by it. Especially if you're someone new, so you can have, another, good one under your belt. Luke chapter 13, verse 10. It says, and he was still healing on the Sabbath, right? I'm about to drop my phone. If this was a microphone, I'd drop it right now. Because the first verse we read, and he was teaching in one of the synagogues on the Sabbath. Let me check something real quick. Okay, the red letter's on, all right? And who are we talking about? Let's keep reading. Okay, it says, and he was teaching in one of the synagogues on the Sabbath. On the Sabbath. On the Sabbath. Okay? As a matter of fact, let me get synagogue, because this kind of drives it home. Synagogue, okay? An assembly of Jews formally gathered together to offer prayers and listen to the reading and expositions of the scriptures. Assemblies of that sort were held every Sabbath, every Sabbath and feast day. Afterwards, also on the second and fifth days of every week, name transferred to an assembly of Christians formally gathered together for religious purposes. It also says the buildings where those solemn Jewish assemblies are held. And we don't need to read into that anymore, because that's, going to something else. But, and Luke 13 and 10, and he was teaching in one of the synagogues, one of the places where Israelites gather together thrice a week. To what? Teach and hear the teachings on the Sabbath. All right? We've established that because we said it almost 10 times. Verse 11, and behold, there was a woman which had a spirit of infirmity 18 years, and was bowed together, and could in no wise lift up herself. And when Yahushua saw her, he called her to him, and said unto her, Woman, thou art loosed from thine infirmity. So we just clarified who we're talking about from the first verse in verse 10. We're talking about Yahushua teaching not only in the synagogue, but on the Sabbath day. And when Yahushua saw her, he called her to him and said unto her, Woman, thou art loosed from thy infirmity. Okay, it says, and he laid his hands on her, and immediately she was made straight and glorified God the highest. And the ruler of the synagogue answered with indignation, because that Yahushua had healed on the Sabbath day. But who's greater? Who's really greater? All right, Yahushua or these individuals, the one you falsely and ignorantly call Jesus, right? Or the other individuals? Because that Yahushua had healed on the Sabbath day and said unto the people, there are 6 days in which men ought to work. In them, therefore, come and be healed, and not on the Sabbath day. It says, the Lord then answered him and said, Thou hypocrite, doeth not each one of you on the Sabbath loose his ox or his ass from the stall and lead him away to watering? And ought not this woman, being a daughter of Abraham, basically she's an Israelite, she's one of your fellow sisters, whom Satan hath bound, all right, which is why she has her infirmity, Going back to Job chapter 1, Satan has to get permission to bother any one of us. And the Lord gives the okay. He just can't take our life. And if he does give the go ahead, he'll send a spirit, created for vengeance to do that. All right? On an individual when he wants to take a person's life. So it says, whom Satan hath bound, lo, these 18 years be loosed from this bond on the Sabbath day. On the Sabbath day. And right here is all the proof we need that we're not going off when we're teaching on the Sabbath day, because we're following our master. And the servant is not greater than his master. But I guess when you're dealing with Jesus, maybe it's different over there. We don't know. We don't care. But you ain't got it, and that ain't it. Verse 17, and when he had said these things, all his adversaries were ashamed, and all the people rejoiced for all the glorious things that were done by him. See? But wait, there's more. Hold on a minute. We're going to go over here to Mark chapter 6. Teaching at Nazareth. And he went out from thence and came into his own country, and his disciples followed him. So we got to keep reading to find out who we're talking about here. And when the Sabbath day was come, he began to teach in the synagogue. And when the Sabbath day was come, he began to teach in the synagogue. And many hearing him were astonished, saying, from whence hath this man these things? And what wisdom is this which is given unto him, that even such mighty works are wrought by his hands? Yeah, how know if this man letters, having never learned? That's what No Cap Baloney sees us as, right? They didn't go to our theological cemeteries. How they can possibly be right? They're not the people. You never talk about anybody else. It's always us. Direct your attention to the Israelis or to your Roman Catholic churches or whatever else. Go and jump in their backpacks for a little bit and see what they got going on over there. All right, you'll find some things. But no, he's busy on the skirt tails of those that are a Jew. So it says, and I say that just to get at him. He'll probably never do this video. My channel's small. It says, is not this the carpenter, the son of Mary, the brother of James and Joses, and of Judah and Simon, and are not his sisters here with us? And they were offended at him. So we know that we're talking about Yahushua, which takes us back to the first verse, verse 1. He went out from thence and came into his own country, and his disciples followed him. So he went out, talking about Yahushua, and his disciples followed him, which was the original 12. And he maybe had others following him, but we know we're always speaking about the original 12 because they personally accompanied him. And when the Sabbath day was come, he, being Yahushua, began to teach in the synagogue. And we can stop right there. Okay? So, let's go over here. We're going to stay in the book of Mark. And we're going to jump over to chapter 14. Check this out. Just 1 or 2 from over here. Mark 14 and 48 and 49. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, are ye come out as against a thief, with swords and with staves to take me? I was daily with you. Meaning what? Today we have what? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah. We got the 7 days of the week. Back then they had the same thing, which is day 1, day 2, day 3, so on and so forth. He says, I was daily with you in the temple teaching. And we just read that in 2 different places. Daily teaching, meaning also on the Sabbath, because that's what those accounts were about. I was daily with you in the temple teaching, and you took me not, but the scriptures must be fulfilled. Okay? And that's all we needed right there. I was daily with you in the temple teaching. 7 days a week. The only time Yahushua rested was when he fell asleep. Other than that, he was healing and forwarding the ministry. My meat is to do the will of the Heavenly Father, man. Let's keep moving forward. Let's go to Matthew chapter 12. Sabbath questions. Verse 1. At that time, Yahushua went on the Sabbath day. On the Sabbath day. Okay. Vocab's super weak, man. All right. It says, through the corn, and his disciples were an hungered, and began to pluck the ears of corn and to eat. But when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto him, behold, thy disciples do that which is not lawful to do upon the Sabbath day. But he said unto them, have ye not read what David did when he was hungered, and they that were with him? That's going back to when David was on the run. Okay, that's in our history. It says how he entered into the house of the Most High and did eat the shewbread, which was not lawful for him to eat. Yeah, because the priest said, I have no common bread. Okay, only thing I have is this, I guess the word's consecrated bread. All right, holy bread, if you will. I can't remember the exact word I'm looking for, but you get my point. But I can only give it to you and your men if you have been staying away from women at least a few days here. All right. But that's once again into the history, into that account. How he entered into the house of the power and did eat the shewbread, which was not lawful for him to eat, neither for them which were with him, but only for the priest. Or have ye not read in the law how that on the Sabbath days the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath and are blameless? Because they have to do work. See, that's the thing about the priesthood. It's constant work. There is no resting from the work, because even on the Sabbath day, a priest may have to offer up, do things, services in the temple, which is sum it up like that. They have to do the simple services, man. And it's not all the Levites. It's just the priest amongst the Levites. Okay. It was constant work to be done. Okay. So it says, but I say unto you that in this place is one greater than the temple. But if in this place is one greater than the temple, who's that? That's Yahushua. But if ye had known what this meaneth, I will have mercy and not sacrifice, ye will not have condemned the guiltless. Okay, we're going to keep reading. We're going to read down through this account. It says, Lord of the Sabbath, right? Check this out. It says, for the Son of Man is the Lord even of the Sabbath day. And when he was departed thence, he went into their synagogue once again, and on the Sabbath day, into their synagogue. And behold, and not saying there as in they own it, but, just reading it how it's written, right? So it gives more life to the story, the account, the way that, the prophets recorded it. But anyways, it says, and behold, there was a man which had his hand withered. And they asked him, saying, is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath days? Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath days? Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath days? We're going to get our answer here, that they might accuse him. And he said unto them, what man shall there be among you that shall have one sheep? And if it fall into a pit on the Sabbath day, will he not lay hold on it and lift it out? Now, if you may be young in the truth, maybe you've not been here long. Okay, so you have to understand, back in the ancient times, all right, our ancestors, we dealt very heavily with the land and with cattle, and basically working with our hands. Okay, and so having land and cattle meant that you could be very, very wealthy. And so if something's wrong with your cattle, you have to go and tend to it. And this is the example that Yahushua, because your sheep will be your money. If you have 15 sheep and 10 of them fall in a ditch, and you like, oh man, it's the Sabbath day, and you leave them there, and tomorrow, all right, they're all 10 of those sheep are dead, and you only have 5. That's almost equivalent to a company damn near going bankrupt today in modern day times, because that was your money there. Okay. So of course you would go and take the sheep out of the ditch and make sure the sheep is safe, and then go about, on your regular Sabbath day. So this is what he basically, he ducked a jab and he threw, an uppercut while their mouth was open. He said unto them, what man shall there be among you that shall have one sheep? And if it fall into a pit on the Sabbath day, will he not lay hold on it and lift it out? How much then is a man better than a sheep? Wherefore it is lawful to do well on the Sabbath days. All right. How much then is a man better than a sheep? Wherefore it is lawful to do well on the Sabbath days. And I really like how this is worded, because it shows you, as we constantly talk about, we love, all the Lord's creatures. All right. I mean, even the flies and the maggots have their own purpose. You can keep them away from me. I'm fine if you keep them away from me, but I do love all the Lord's creatures and creations, man. Okay? But anyways, it says, then said he to the man, stretch forth thine hand, and he stretched it forth, and it was restored whole like as the other. Okay? So you get the gist of what's going on here. We're going to keep reading. It says, then the Pharisees went out and held a council against him, how they might destroy him. All right? Because they were wicked as hell, and they were carnal. They were holding to the letter of the law, to a T, even over Yahushua. But of course, they didn't believe he was the Messiah. All right? So it says, eventually they believed, which is why they wanted, like, you know what? We just going to take this dude out. It says, but when Yahushua knew it, he withdrew himself from thence, and great multitudes followed him, and he healed them all. Now we have multiple accounts of healing on the Sabbath day, in the temple, in the synagogue, right? And charged them that they should not make him known, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, which means this is in the history. So it says, behold, my servant, whom I have chosen, my beloved, in whom my soul is well pleased. I will put my spirit upon him, and he shall show judgment to the Gentiles. Now, we don't have to get into that because that's going into a whole other, topic there. All right. So it says, he shall not strive nor cry, neither shall any man hear his voice in the streets. A bruised reed shall he not break, and smoking flax shall he not quench, till he send forth judgment unto victory. And in his name shall the Gentiles trust. Now, that's all prophecy right there, which is why we're not getting into that. I want to get down. Actually, we probably could have stopped up higher, but we read it already. Because as a matter of fact, we just stopped right there because we really didn't need to read that. We got the point there in the Sabbath. So that's all dealing with Yahushua himself. That's why I want to bring those scriptures out. Teaching, healing, all on the Sabbath day and various times inside the synagogue. Okay? And us today are a continuation of his ministry as his disciples. Okay? Beginning with the apostles and on down, his disciples. Okay? And that's why even back then, in the ancient days, you also had his disciples back then, his apostles back then, who also taught nonstop. We're going to end it with this. Acts chapter 5, verse 34. Then stood there up one in the council, a Pharisee named Gamaliel, a doctor of the law, had in reputation among all the people, and commanded to put the apostles forth a little space. And said unto them, ye men of Israel, take heed to yourselves what ye intend to do as touching these men. For before these days rose up Theudas, boasting himself to be somebody, to whom a number of men, about 400, joined themselves, who was slain, and all, as many as obeyed him, were scattered and brought to naught. Verse 37 says, after this man rose up Judas of Galilee in the days of the taxing, and drew away much people after him. He also perished, and all, even as many as obeyed him, were dispersed. And now I say unto you, refrain from these men, and let them alone. For if this counsel or this work be of men, it will come to naught. But if it be of God the highest, ye cannot overthrow it. Message, okay? Because this is what vocab is doing. He's happily finding himself fighting against the Lord. Let's read it. But if it be of God the highest, ye cannot overthrow it, lest happily ye be found even to fight against God the highest. That's what vocab is doing, man. Okay? Scrambling for answers, and the answers are already there. He just doesn't believe the answers that are being given, but given with the apostles on down. And to him, they agreed. And because he had that high rank, right? He had some status there. He was probably one of the top Pharisees. And to him, they agreed. And when they had called the apostles and beaten them, they commanded that they should not speak in the name of Yahushua, and let them go. And they departed from the presence of the council, which the point is in the final verse, rejoicing that they were counted worthy to suffer shame for his name, for Yahushua's name. It says, and daily in the temple. Daily meaning day 1 to day 7, which includes the Sabbath day, right? And in the temple furthermore. And this isn't Yahushua this time. These are his disciples. And daily in the temple and in every house, they ceased not to teach and preach Hamashiach Yahushua. And this is what we still do today, carrying on the ministry of reconciliation, teaching daily through our digital lessons, and weekly every Saturday at camp, which is not the Sabbath day, but occasionally the Sabbath day does fall on Saturday, and we're not breaking the Sabbath day by going out teaching, because the disciples did it, and they did it. We did it because the disciples did it, and the disciples did it because Yahushua did it. Now, what say ye, vocab? Lord willing, you will edify. Till next time, Rashad, I'm going to say shalom.